how can you deal with failure?
Right.
Like, how can you take failure in anything, call it baseball,
Yeah.
and turn it into motivation, turn it into ultimately a success?
How would you?
Right?
What would you do?
Oh man, I wouldn't forget it.
Yeah.
It stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so then when you're in the gym the next time, could you do one more set?
Right.
Could you do just maybe add 5 more pounds?
Right.
Could you throw a little bit harder in your bullpen? Could you throw a little bit further in your long toss? Could you, there's different things. And the answer is typically yes.
Yeah.
Because you can push yourself a lot harder than your mind thinks you can.
No doubt. Hey guys, this one's pretty cool. It's another show about another person that persevered, didn't give up, worked hard, and was super successful. Had on my good friend and real estate agent, Justin Haley. He's a former professional baseball player and a real estate agent down in Newburyport. Listen to Justin. You learn about being tough, fighting through failures, and winning in the end. Enjoy the show. All right, guys, here we are on another episode of The Mic Drop with Justin Haley. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Happy to be here.
Good. So Justin's got a very interesting story. He had a long career in baseball, right? He had a few years in the major leagues.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. You actually have a World Series ring.
I do.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have a World
Not
Series
on me,
ring,
but yeah.
but in your possession.
Right.
I mean, I have this $8 rubber ring, so World Series ring's pretty sweet. And now you're a real estate agent, and you're doing very well in real estate. So just wanted to talk to, have you kind of talk to everybody out there listening and get to know you better,
Sure.
right? Because as you're growing your career in real estate, and, I'm sure you'll apply a lot of the same principles and work ethic that you did in baseball, right?
Yeah.
And what I've seen from a lot of folks, because I know a handful of other real estate agents that were previously professional athletes, believe it or not.
Right. Okay.
And it tends to be that if you make it to the level where you're a professional athlete, you're pretty, in most cases, you're a pretty hard worker.
At least you're focused.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're determined.
Yeah.
You have your eye on something, you know what I mean? And you're really going for it.
Or just don't take failure.
Right.
Which seems to be the name of, both games. Baseball, real estate, it's kind of like push through failure, not even avoid it, just push through it.
Yeah, because there's always failure.
Right.
Right. And if you don't fail at something, you're not trying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not, and what did, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? I read his book and I think he's a real interesting guy. You know what I mean? You look at all the shit that he went through to become a, 10-time or something like that. I don't know. World champion bodybuilder to an actor, the governor of California, right?
Right.
And what he always says is you can't be afraid to fail. You know what I mean? You got to, that's why people don't try to do things.
Right.
They're afraid of that failure.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
And there's everyday activities that I'm still afraid to fail. It's like I was just talking to Rocco earlier. It's like putting yourself out there on social media. Like that's new to me. I'm afraid I'm going to fail, but you make it a goal.
You're afraid of putting yourself on social media?
Oh man, yeah, that's been my biggest hitch.
How come?
A fear of failure.
Yeah.
That fear of being judged, not being able to control it.
Yep.
I think that's a big reason that I work so hard, or I've worked so hard in the past, is being able to cover every aspect and being able to sort of control outcomes as much as possible. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I really don't have a ton of control in that realm, or I feel like I don't. And so that's been a little bit of a back of my mind concern.
Yeah.
But I'm pushing through it. Right now I'm trying to just make that my goal for 23 and see where it takes me.
It's a good goal because that's where everything's going. The reason I was surprised when you first said that is, you were going out at times in stadiums with how many people in them?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. Thrown in front of, 20, 40,000 is
right.
It just feels different to me. Yeah. I don't know, because I had put in the work.
Right.
I knew
you felt prepared.
that the hours that I had spent away from that crowd were preparing me for that crowd to where it was, I almost just turned my brain off and just did it.
Right.
That's
a good point, right? It's all the hours before that when you're prepping, then you just go out and execute and you're just doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the social media thing, I think you do great. You know what I mean? From, meeting with you a handful of times and talking to you, you just got to do it. Go out, be yourself. Because in real estate, People work with you because of you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They don't work with you because you work for Fruh Realty in Newburyport. Nope.
Right.
They work with you because they like you as a person. So that's why you just got to let people get to know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes that's scary too, but yeah.
Letting people get to know you?
Yeah.
Let them get to know as much as you want them to know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you open up to people as you get more comfortable with them.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, being in this business for over 20 years now, it's all a relationship business, right?
Yeah.
And I think I was saying this in the class of mine that you were in the other day. It's a personal transaction. It's not a business transaction for the consumer, for the homeowner, the buying or selling. Unless you're doing a commercial deal or something. But we're primarily residential, so it's like you're working with somebody on a personal level. So they need to know you on a personal level, and the more you can, just kind of break down that barrier and make them feel comfortable, then they'll work with you for life.
No, you're absolutely right.
Tell all their friends and family.
Yeah, and protecting their best interests, taking each transaction to heart. That's a huge part from both of our sides.
Very much so.
My side from getting to know these people, very closely, showing them houses for anywhere from, a month to a couple of years for some of my clients.
Especially now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where deals aren't coming together super fast.
Yeah. You get close. You get to know their coffee orders really well.
Right.
You get to know their families a little bit in talkings. And I mean, that's really a fun part of it, though. As you get into it, that's what I'm starting to love, is getting to know these people, getting into their lives and their backstories and sort of the reason why they're doing what they're doing. And then I think they appreciate the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, using my experience, what I've gone through, some of my best friends in the world now are people that I met through this business, whether some of them are real estate agents, title people, clients of mine, people that are in my life are from this business, because you build these relationships on a personal level.
If you're doing it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect example. You mentioned Rocco, right? Yeah. Rocco and I work side by side, right? And that's because I started working with his mother probably close to 10 years ago now.
Okay.
She's a real estate agent in Wyndham, does a ton of business, right? So I started working with her. We built a relationship, working relationship that was good, but then we became genuinely good friends, right?
Yeah.
Then when Rocco was his senior year in college, or maybe his junior year, he was looking for an internship. So Shannon recommended he come to me.
Smart.
So then we worked together. Now Shannon's daughters have babysat my boys. Yeah. You know what I mean? That happens in this business because it's genuinely about helping people.
Yeah.
What I always say, because when people say they want to get into the real estate business or the mortgage business so you can make good money and earn a living, I'm like, yeah, but that kind of has to be an afterthought.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the ups and downs. You're gonna take hits everywhere, no matter what side you're on. And if you're only in it for the money or some sort of outside reason, then you're going to get out of it quick, just as quick as you got in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then you'll leave if you don't get the money.
Yeah. Right.
It's not about the money.
I feel like it's the same way in sport.
Yeah.
You get, I do a little bit of coaching with some kids and I sort of taken it down a little bit as I've gotten more into my real estate but I take on those kids that I know are going to be invested in it, that they're in it for the right reasons. They're not just there because either mom and dad want them in it, or they're not just there because it's they think it's cool. Right. They actually want to get better every single time that they're there, and they prove it by going to work on their own and improve their skills. And then when they come back to me, they know that we're going to climb that ladder together.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, right? Athletics, it's almost transferable to everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of the guys here, guys and girls that work here, I met because we worked out in a CrossFit gym together.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw their level of commitment. And same thing with these kids you're talking about, right? They'll be successful, those types of people, in anything they do, much like you have been in baseball and in real estate, right? By being completely dedicated to doing something just because they love it.
Yeah.
you know, and then you grow, and then you get the peripheral benefits that come along with that.
Definitely.
Let's talk about you and baseball and all that good stuff and where you grew up. Where are you from?
I'm from California, little town outside of Sacramento.
What town?
Grew up mostly in Fair Oaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair Oaks. And you lived there until you were how old?
Well, gosh, I really didn't leave California until I went to college in California down at Fresno State.
Yep.
And then didn't leave there until I was drafted by the Sox in 12.
Wow.
Yeah, really hadn't ventured out of the state much.
Wow, that's cool though. You know?
Yeah.
So let's talk about baseball. When did you start? How old were you when you first started playing baseball?
Oh gosh, I mean, I was swinging a bat or throwing a ball since I knew how to pick it up.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was a ball player, so he was a big guy.
Yep.
You know, first baseman, big hitter. And I played a little bit for the Dodgers organization.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
You know, played around in some of that indie ball.
Yep.
And then raised my brother and I to love the game and do it the right way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we had a blast growing up. Both my brother's about 2 years younger than me, so all three of us just running around playing ball.
Oh, that
basically
had
year
been
round.
so cool.
Yeah.
Was he still playing when you were a little kid?
Up until I was about 2.
Okay, so
Yeah,
not
2 or
that you
3,
remember.
So it wasn't, not like not like big memory, but
Right.
yeah, you hear stories. You
Yeah.
hear stories. You have his baseball card.
Oh, that's awesome.
That coming up is pretty cool and motivating to a young kid.
Yeah, my kid's never going to have my baseball card.
We'll make you one.
Right. I'll see if somebody here can make me a couple baseball cards for my kids. I'll make up a lie.
Yeah.
That's cool though. So I assume you started playing like any other kid. You t-ball when you 4 or 5 years old,
Yep.
And did you just love it from the very beginning, just because you were in it with your dad and brother? And
Oh yeah, I mean we enjoyed playing together, and I mean that was what we did in the backyard, in the front yard, wherever
Awesome.
we were. We'd always close to a field, so you go out and find a cage,
Yep.
or going up through high school, same thing. I took sort of a different route where I went to like a junior college and sort of worked my way through, and then got to Fresno, and then I was drafted my junior year, and went out and played for the Spinners.
in Lowell?
A lot of local
Nice.
teams.
Yep.
Yeah. It was Spinners. I mean, God, I played through the entire organization for a couple of years.
Yeah. Did you end up down in that Cape Cod Baseball League?
I didn't play in Cape Cod.
No?
No, I played in. They have a similar league in Alaska.
Really?
Yeah, so got to play in that for summer.
You must have, seen the whole country playing,
Through minor league ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah, each league.
Let me ask you, let's take it back a little bit earlier than that, right? You're obviously you're a big kid. What are you, about 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, 6'5".
All right. Because I remember when I was growing up, right? There were the few kids that were significantly bigger than everybody else that would be like smoking people, whether you're playing baseball, football, hockey, anything, right? Did it take? Were you this big when you were young, or did you grow late? Did you dominate like in middle school? What did it look like?
I don't feel like I did.
No?
I don't know. You ask other people maybe around town, they might say different, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I was the biggest. There were definitely kids bigger than me. It was kind of weird. We had a lot of kids that I went to high school with that actually ended up getting drafted.
Really?
Through after college and whatnot. So it was pretty cool to be around. A good environment for baseball, and pretty an anomaly. You don't see it often.
No.
But I guess people say California. We do play year round.
Yeah,
so it's
California
a little
and Florida,
different.
right?
Yeah,
Big baseball places.
yeah. But so we had a big baseball environment. I don't feel like I was the biggest one.
Yeah.
We were all pretty evenly matched out there, and but I definitely saw that work ethic was what was going to separate me.
Right.
And I kind of needed that. I was a little bit skinnier, although I was tall. I was like a skinny kid. And, having to outwork people is something that I figured out, especially in like my last years of high school, junior college, was that was the only thing that was going to, separate me from everybody who was, big or right on the cusp. And that's sort of what I carried out through my entire career.
Yeah, talk about controllable.
Yeah.
Right? I remember I was just talking to my wife, or I think it was my wife recently, about this. I was never a great athlete when I was a kid, right? I played baseball, played some hockey, played this, but like I was never great. I was like whatever, average to below average, right?
Sure.
And so when I first got like my first job, right, I was probably like 12, right? And I was like, oh, I remember I was washing dishes at a breakfast restaurant in town, right? Well, I had other jobs before that, like raking leaves and like doing things like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I always enjoyed that I could control the result of that, right?
Yeah.
Just by outworking people.
Yeah.
Right. And any job I ever had, from there, I would just go in and hustle and put in the work, like you're saying, work, success, and I always just thrived at that because I can just outwork people.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's interesting when someone like yourself that made it to the major league says the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right? You look at like when Larry Bird talks about when they talk about Bird back in the day shooting like 1,000 free throws a day.
Yeah. Just living in the gym.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
All the time.
And I mean, it's such an easy thing to say, like, just outwork people, you'll be there.
Yeah.
But then people they start to realize that it's not as easy done as it is said, right?
No, because a lot of times you don't see the results right away.
Well, exactly. You have to stay with the process day in and day out, day in and day out.
Yep.
And, it's like, I guess that's the reason a lot of people, like when I was getting into real estate and deciding after the career change and the shift, everybody told me, oh, well, it's expect to be, 2 years out before you really see any success. It's a grind. And that's the reason people fall out of it, So, and that didn't scare me because I knew that as long as I just put a good process in place and I just stayed with that one day at a time, and stayed with that mental approach, really, kind of the same one that I had in baseball.
Right.
Is just one day at a time, do what I can control, and let the rest figure itself out. And that's, they all build up together, and as you get a couple years down the road, you do see a lot of success.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I always put it in like activity based. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're talking real estate or baseball, right? Say it's say when you were playing baseball, if you're trying to improve your hitting, you go in the cage, you take 1,000 swings a day, or whatever the number. You know what I mean?
At least.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna get better, but you have to do it every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's talk about that, right? So I want to talk a little bit more about as you were advancing in baseball, right? Because that's something that I think people need to hear about. Another story of somebody who kept putting in the work, kept dealing with failure and obstacles, and came out a winner at the end because they stuck with it. And that's what I love about all these motivational things you read out there, and you read books on professional athletes and business people. It's all the same fucking thing. It really is. The hard work, dedication, commitment, not quitting, getting up every day and doing it, you know? So was your goal from the time you were little to make it to the major leagues? Was that a goal of yours?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely the kid that used to get laughed at by teachers because I would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
Like, no, really, what do you really want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
No, that's what I want to be, and that was my goal. I want to be a baseball player. Like,
awesome.
I didn't really know what that meant until I got older.
Right.
But it's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, and you did.
Yeah.
You did it. And I love that because you look at it, right? And it's like, how many people play in the major leagues every single year? Maybe 750. Is that what it is?
I think that's the exact
like
number.
500, 600, 700. I don't know. 750.
Yeah.
So there's 750 people out of, I don't know, let's say 7 billion people on the planet.
Something like that.
Right. 350 million in the United States, and 750 of them make it to that level.
Right.
That's hard. That is not easy to do.
No,
right?
It's not. Yeah.
So throughout high school, were you looked at as a prospect at that point to get drafted, or what did that look like?
I wouldn't say I was. Like I said, we had some studs on my baseball team in high school, and I was bottom tier.
Really?
I was not the best on my high school team. I was not the scouts didn't come to see me. They saw me because they were there to see other people.
That's crazy.
And that's sort of I got the kick in the butt a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was blessed enough genetically, and I really put in the work.
Yep.
And just made sure to grind and did it at the right time.
Incredible.
Not too late.
Right.
But yeah, I was a little bit later, and that's kind of the reason I went to junior college and
To get you more
realized,
prepared.
yeah, realized, hey, I really got to step up. I've been working hard, but I got to work harder.
So you were saying at the end of your high school career that you hadn't done enough to make it yet.
Yeah.
Right. So you went to junior. What did you say, for 1 year, or was it 2?
I went for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended up. It's not typical, but I guess I either worked that hard or I got lucky and ended up getting a scholarship after that 1 year.
Yeah, you probably didn't get lucky.
Right. Yeah. No, I did. I will say that I worked my butt off for that.
I'm sure you did.
For
That's
that
not
1
luck.
year. Yeah.
That's not luck.
That was a lot of, nobody knew where I was because I cut, conversations with everybody. I was just working. That was
and
the only
you were
thing.
18.
I was
or 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever your age is at that point.
17.
Right,
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
17 years old. My son's 17 years old. He's not doing that. Michael, listen to Justin.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you put in the work in junior, and then you went to Fresno State.
Mm-hmm.
How did it look when you got on the team there?
Oh man, that was a talented team.
Yeah, they're
too.
usually pretty good, right?
Yeah, they were coming off of they had won the College World Series in 2009. I got there in 2010.
Yep.
So yeah, they were coming off some studs and riding a high, and really good coaching staff.
Yep.
And we had the things in place to make us successful. We just had to buy into the program.
Right.
The program was already there. And that's not an easy thing to do, but it's easier than having to do it by yourself.
Absolutely.
So we bought into the program. We stayed motivated, and dedicated. And, that ended up working out for us too.
How'd your teams do
personally.
in the 3 years you were there?
We did well. We won our league every year.
Yep.
We were in a strong conference, but we battled it out and won that every year. We went to regionals every year, ran up against some really good teams and didn't have our best days and went home early.
Right.
Yeah. So that was tough.
Sometimes that you almost have more respect for some of the guys that are in that situation. Like when you look at like teams like, I'm just going to pick some team that was like terrible forever. You look at like the Detroit Lions.
Sure.
Right. And they get up and they get suited up for practice and they show up every week and go like year after year after year, like winning no games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, the Milwaukee Brewers did that for like 20 years, you know? It's like, there's different teams out there that it's like, you got to respect those guys too, that, get it handed to them and you go home, then you get back up the next day and you keep on working.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we did.
Mentally, that can mentally crush you.
Oh, it definitely does. Yeah. I mean, but that's sort of the thing, right? How can you deal with failure?
Right.
Like, how can you take failure in anything, call it baseball, and turn it into motivation, turn it into ultimately a success?
How would you?
Right?
What would you do?
Oh, man, I wouldn't forget it.
Yeah.
It stays with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so then when you're in the gym the next time, could you do one more set?
Right.
Could you do just maybe add 5 more pounds?
Right.
Could you, throw a little bit harder in your bullpen? Could you throw a little bit further in your long toss? Could you, there's different things. And the answer is typically yes.
Yeah.
Because you can push yourself a lot harder than your mind thinks you can.
No doubt.
And I think that translates to just about everything as well, is you can do a lot more than what you're limiting yourself to, even if you don't think you're limiting yourself.
Oh, you're always limiting yourself. The mind is what limits you, not your body.
Yeah. You can always do a little bit more.
Yeah.
You can always get a little bit better.
Some quote I read years ago, I wish I could remember what it was. It said like, maybe it was Einstein. If we did what we were actually capable of, if we did what ourselves were actually capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. Like it would be absolutely incredible what we're capable of, but our brains tell us we can't do it.
Yeah, right.
With anything.
Letting yourself be how amazing you are. Right.
You
hold yourself back.
That's it. Like even you're talking about social media, right? You can talk well, you can speak well. You know what I mean? You're a handsome guy. It's like you should be all over social media. You know what I mean?
Hey, we'll see.
Absolutely right, Ed. Handsome guy over here. Seriously. I like as we're talking, I was thinking about things that you could do on social media, right? You should take advantage of your baseball career. You worked really hard to have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did.
Like that wasn't something that comes to most people. So you should incorporate it all. You know what I mean? You were saying when we were walking out, you were joking, saying you were the tallest realtor in Newburyport, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think some videos are coming on that.
Yeah,
we'll
they
see.
should.
We'll put it together.
You know?
Yeah.
And use it because you worked really hard to have, that under your belt that you made it to the major leagues, you know?
Yeah.
So you finished in college. You were not finished in college because you were a junior when you got drafted, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
And did you go? You went right then?
I went right out of my junior year.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity. I was a pretty high pick. So.
Yep. Yeah. What pick were you?
I went in the 6th round. So
it's pretty good.
6 out of 40.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And was that to the Sox originally?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
Because you went to Minnesota at one point, right?
I did. That was a secondary draft. It's called the Rule 5.
Okay,
and,
what's that?
All your listeners can sort of go research and Google that.
Yeah, I will.
It's a secondary draft that happens at the winter meetings at the last day.
Okay.
It basically means any player that's not protected on the 40-man roster of that team after having played 5 seasons is eligible to be drafted by all the other teams in the league.
Gotcha. Because you were drafted by the Sox in, what do you say, 12?
In 12, yeah.
In 12, and you were with the organization
up until
then,
17. Yeah.
And then you went back when they won in 18, right?
In 18, yeah, right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But even so, you were in the minor leagues for 5 or 6 years, right?
5 years, yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
And even that alone, right? That's another example of really working hard to try to make it to that next level.
Yeah.
Right? So all the way through up at this point, you're probably, 22, 23 years old when you first go.
Yep.
And then 4, 5, 6, 7, you're still pushing to try to get to that next level.
Yeah.
How was all that, like mentally going through the minor leagues all those years?
Oh,
or was
man.
it just, did you just love it? Were you like, wait, I'm here, I love it? Or were you still, kind of, I got to get to the next level?
Oh, well, absolutely. Though that's the goal, right? The goal isn't to make it or be drafted,
right?
Make it to the minor leagues. The goal is to be in the major leagues, and then beyond that is to succeed to the highest level in the major leagues, right? To have 10, 15-year career in the major leagues. Obviously, I didn't reach that one, but it's it's the little goals that you set all the way along the way.
Sure.
I loved it. I loved the minor leagues, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Also hated it at the same time. It just, you make it hard on yourself. The system makes it hard on you. Yeah. It's a grind. I mean, you're playing I think in the minors we played 142 games.
It's a lot of games.
In the year, yeah. You take off a day or two here or there, maybe 1 or 2 a month.
Yep.
And usually those are for the 14-hour bus trips that you take. So it's grueling on the body. It's grueling on the mind because you're literally at the field every single day from, I don't know, call it 11 o'clock on a night game, and then you don't get out until probably 11 p.m. or so. Right. So yeah, you're there. Hopefully you got good guys around you because they're your family.
Right.
You're with them more than you see anybody else. And
that's something that people don't think about.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're trying in probably the minor leagues of anything, right? It's like when you're trying to make to that next level, that's when you get a lot of hard work. You don't have family around you. You're kind of like out there alone,
Yeah.
And it's a long season.
It's a very long season. And, it's like I said, as long as you have good people around you, which I did, I was very blessed with having great teammates, great coaches. We all had our ups and downs, but we really pushed through together as far as, the grind that is the minor leagues.
Any good stories from those days? Anything?
Oh, man, that come right to mind?
Yeah.
Jeez. I'd need to give that another second's thought.
That'll be the second episode.
Yeah. Have me back. I'll have some more stories.
Yeah, for the stories. Well, that's unbelievable. So you made it to the Twins in 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the team.
Yeah.
Right?
I made it out of spring training. It's another part of the rule where when you're taken in the Rule 5 draft, you have to make the 25-man roster out of spring training. And I was blessed enough to make the team. Towards the end of spring training, they let me know, and that was very, very exciting.
That's incredible. And had you? I meant to talk to you about your wife too. You met your wife when you were in Boston those years, right?
Yeah, I met my wife actually when I was in Lowell.
Okay.
Yeah, playing for the Spinners, and we did the dating thing for a long time, and actually we were married just before. We got married in 2016.
Okay.
Just before I was taken in the Rule 5 draft. So, I say she's my good luck charm because it was like the end of that month that I got taken in the Rule 5 right after I married her. So,
so it's all up to her. She did it.
Yep. Yeah, that was it.
Right?
Yeah,
So
that
you
was
didn't do anything.
No, not me.
Wow, that's awesome. So you got married in what 16? You said right? 17 to get drafted.
Yep.
And so did you guys move out to Minnesota at that time?
Yeah.
You just up and.
Oh yeah!
How quickly does that happen?
Every single year. I mean, so it's it's funny. I say I never lived in one place for longer than a week from basically 2012 until I retired.
That's crazy.
That's kind of the way that it goes. You move out for spring training in Florida, then you fly or drive to whatever city that you're stationed in, quote unquote, and play through the season. But we went out to Minnesota in 17, and gorgeous city. I mean, the Twin Cities was phenomenal. It's not something that I had expected.
Right.
We really loved it, and the team, the organization, everybody was fantastic. It was a really cool experience that I'm really happy I got to share with my wife. Yeah, she was able to be there with me.
That's awesome. How long were you out in Minnesota for before you ended up coming back to Boston?
I ended up being with them till about July. I ended up getting hurt, and then went through sort of a rehab process, and just the way it was, like they ended up being able to fill my spot, and so I couldn't go to the minor leagues because of the ruling, and so they sent me back to the Red Sox.
Oh, so that's the way that works?
So it was part of the rules.
They then send you back?
Yep.
Well, we got lucky here, right?
Yeah, well, something,
We got your back. So you came back in July, or was it at the beginning of the next season?
Well, I came back for like August, and the season's basically over in August. So, yeah.
Did you play at all that season?
I think I played 1 or 2 games. Yeah.
But 18 was your full year with the Sox,
18 was my full year with back with Boston.
Good year. Right, to be back with the Sox.
It ended up being a great year. Everything came together.
Yeah. That must have been pretty awesome.
It was. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good clubhouse, good team, good chemistry all around from day one of spring training.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Who were some of your favorite guys on the team?
All the way through.
You had a good time with. I'm sure everybody was, but
Oh God, I mean, so we were connected. Mookie and I came up together, so we were close. And then I had guys like
he was down in Lowell
Walden.
For a while,
yeah. He was. He's funny, man. He was such a grinder too.
Yeah,
and just like clicked one day, and he just never let it go.
No, he's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, phenomenal player, phenomenal guy. Like just good things that he's doing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean there were a lot of guys like Brazier. Good guy. Walden was another guy that we were close. And then there's a bunch of other guys that, we come through the minor leagues, and we're all just the no names.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool, though. You know what I mean? Like, you guys work so hard to get there. Yeah. And, it's like you were in the major leagues for a couple of years, but you got to be on a team. How many wins did that team have that year?
118.
Yeah, like that's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be part of something special like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's something you'll have for the rest of your life to tell your kids, grandkids. You know what I mean? Like, just a memory that you get to have.
Right.
And really, the reward there is all the 20. I don't know how old you were. 26 years of hard work leading up to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude. That's incredible.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So you end up winning the World Series. Get a World Series ring under your belt. And was it right after that season that you ended up retiring?
No, it was actually after that season I ended up going to play in Korea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to Korea.
I did. I took it international.
How long were you in Korea for?
For a year.
For a year?
Yeah, 1 season.
Okay, how was that? That must have been cool.
Yeah, that was an experience, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great people, great environment, good food.
Yeah?
I mean, the whole experience was really cool.
So you and your wife just went to Korea?
Me and my wife just went to Korea. Yeah, that was another interesting story. I mean, my my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and she ended up being born the 15th of January, and I had to fly out the 1st of February. So, I basically got 2 weeks with her. And then, so I was off on my own for, the spring training and everything in Japan. And then, we went over to Korea, and then my wife and daughter ended up flying out to be with me when she was about 3 months old.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. For a short time, my daughter had lived in Korea longer than she had lived in the States.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome life experiences, though.
Yeah.
I mean, all that you get to, all that, wealth of knowledge and experience and all those cool things you did. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
So how did that season go? How did that come to an end? Why didn't you stay there?
Yeah, I mean, it went good. Again, it was kind of injury.
Yeah.
And just they are very strict on if you can't play right now, then we can't use you.
That's it.
And so, they'll find somebody else.
Right.
And that's what they did, and can't blame them for it. Wish I could have stayed healthier, but that's what it ended up being.
Right.
Ended up coming back, and then right after that was the COVID season.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get my act together for that.
Yeah.
And there was no minor league season, so it was all kind of wonky, unsure times, and luckily I had already had my real estate license at that point and started working in that realm and sort of moving my energy into that space.
So when did you get your real estate license? When along the journey did you say, "Hey, I might as well get my real estate license between games"?
Yeah, well, no, it was the off season in 19. Honestly, right before I went to Korea, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get my real estate license because it seems like fun. I know a lot of people in that realm, and it's a really interesting space to me. Like real estate itself was really interesting to me. And then sort of getting my license just seemed like the best option.
Yeah.
To meet new people, be in a new world of experiences, and I mean, God, I say, like, when I started, I say I had lived in so many houses. Like, why wouldn't I be good at selling real estate?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You've been all over the place. You know what people might want.
Every state, every style.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So how did you end up in Newburyport? Right. So you're in California. You're bouncing all over the world. You're in Korea.
Yeah.
Where do you live now?
In Newburyport.
Oh, so you live in Newburyport.
Yeah.
You work in Newburyport. Why Newburyport?
I mean, why not?
I know.
You've
I love
been
Newburyport.
To Newburyport.
As I was saying that, I'm like, I would live in Newburyport. I love Newburyport.
Yeah. What a next question, please.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. No. It's gorgeous. You can't beat being that close to the beach and the ocean, and the vibe that's in Newburyport is perfect.
Yeah, cool downtown, good restaurants.
Fantastic, great people. That it's a good sense of community, and it's still like a bigger city. I mean, we enjoy a lot of the tourism, and we got concerts downtown. We got just year round. Really, there's amazing fun things to do, and after getting involved in the community now, is especially through my kids,
right?
Just falling more in love with it every year. It's the best place to be.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with the kids. How many kids do you have now?
Two.
So your daughter's what? 6 then?
4.
Oh, okay. I'm not very good at math.
That's all right.
Just kidding. I should be. So your daughter's 4, and do you have another girl or another son?
Son. Yeah, my son's almost 2.
He's almost 2.
Yeah.
All right. Are you working on grooming him to be a professional baseball player as well?
Man, he's gonna surpass me by the time he's 4. I'm sure of it. I can't. Like, he's already picking up the bat, picking up the racket, anything he can swing, anything he can throw or kick. It's just
awesome.
Kid's a nut.
Isn't it so much fun having kids?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's
when life
thing
gets
or
real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seriously, it's like, this is what's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's what it's all about. And it also gives you a different sense of, for me anyway, you know what I mean? Everyone's different, but different sense of purpose. You know what I mean? Like, why you get up every day, why you want to go work so hard. You know what I mean? Provide for your family, try to give these kids a great life, and just the enjoyment you have with them.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see as your kids start to get a little bit older. Like my sons are 17, 11, and 10 now. Wow. And we do so much fun shit together. Like yesterday, me and my wife and the 2 younger ones were skiing. We skied from 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. and we just had so much fun doing it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the more that you do with them and the experiences you get to have with them as they get older, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
You know? So
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
yeah,
Right.
it's great. Oh, what I was going to say, I kind of went off. I do that. As your kids get older, that's when you end up getting even more and more entrenched in the community aspect of the town.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, with your schools and sports and activities and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when you really get to for me anyway, get to become more like a part of the community. So you'll see that as the kids get older, and it's a lot of fun.
No, I like that. And I like what you said too, where it's like it becomes your motivation, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the work ethic always stays, but your motivations shift and change.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, you do something for yourself for a while, and then you meet somebody and you start doing it for us, and then you have bringing these kids into the world, and now you have some whole new motivation, right? Like my kids will never get to see me play baseball at the level that I wish they could have, right? But they'll be able to see in me the work ethic in whatever I'm doing. So I got to make sure that my work ethic is above and beyond where it was before they were here, just so they have that model to follow, right? And that's my new motivation, is like I got to work harder so that they know how to work.
Yeah, always be a role model for them. I'm sure the way your dad was for you.
Absolutely.
You know? And
whole reason.
And then it gives us that, it's like, this is why I'm here. Right? Because I'm responsible for other human beings. Sometimes that still kind of like blows my mind as you think about it. My son's 17 years old and my little guys are 11, 10. I'm like, wow, I'm like responsible for these people.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you've done a good job so far, right?
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good. But it's always like, I remember when when each one of them was born, and tell me if you had this feeling, right? Like, you're holding this brand new baby that weighs like 7 or 8 pounds, whatever, and you're like, wow, all right, I now have to make sure that you're all right every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, now what?
You know what I mean? It's like,
all
right, I'll take that challenge on any day.
Yep.
It's great. So let's talk about real estate, right? So you transitioned into real estate in around 2020 full-time, right?
Yeah, full-time,
How'd you end up with Fruh?
Just met with Kevin. Honestly, he was top sales in our area for a long time.
Yeah.
We had been seeing his signs forever.
Yeah.
So, why not go to the top dog?
Agreed.
So went and just talked with him, had some lunch, and, his whole demeanor was just so not what I had expected.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, like, this is the kind of person that I want to be mentored by. This is the kind of person I want to learn from, because their whole approach is not what I expected, new to me, right? Where he's so laid back, he's very forward with his information, just forthcoming with everything that he has, right? He's going to give it to you, and it's going to be blunt, and it's going to be straightforward.
Yep.
There's no fluff to it, and I really I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I've never been one to beat around the bush and tell you something, that I might not know is true to your face.
Yeah, what's the point of doing that?
Yeah, why? It doesn't make any sense to me. So when the way that he came about it, and I just said, this is a good fit.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And he was good enough to take me on and sort of mentor me and sort of teach me the ropes and the way that he'd done it. And he had a really cool experience and sort of getting into real estate, and he's done sort of every element of like rehabbing houses and flipping and and then selling. Obviously he does great volume each year, and so that's somebody that I want to follow in my own business.
Absolutely. And those are the people that you want to link up with, right?
Yeah.
Where he actually has that knowledge of doing a little bit of all of it himself.
Yeah.
All the other agents I know that do big business, it's because they've bought and sold and flipped and invested and done. So they can offer their clients actually that expertise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's good that you're with somebody that can give you that knowledge so you can pass on to your clients.
Yeah, exactly.
So how have the first few years been for you?
They've been good. I mean, it's like everything else, had to start off slow.
Yeah.
Had to stay true to the process. But having a good mentor in place and having a good group around me, like it just seems to be a theme in my life, is like having really good people around me that are motivating me and pushing me and picking me up when I fall down it's been really crucial and a huge part of my success.
I'm calling bullshit for a second.
Go ahead.
It's probably because of what you put out into the universe. You know what I mean? You're saying you've been lucky in having good people around you, right? That doesn't happen for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm big into that book, The Secret, right? Have you ever read that book?
Yeah.
So I've read it probably 10 times over the years. I like it as just a good reminder of what to put out there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the positive energy that you're putting out is going to come back to you tenfold, right? It's probably because you're treating people around you well. You're helping them when they're down. So then it comes right back around, right?
Yeah. No,
so,
that's true.
Yeah, you gotta look at yourself once in a while. No, honestly, right? You seem like a very humble guy, you know, and sometimes people do that almost to a fault when you should say, you know what? You know, I've gotten to this spot because of all the work that I put in, and I'm going to continue doing it, but I'm going to continue helping people. By helping people, it comes full circle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, kudos to you for putting yourselves in those situations to be successful. And I don't mean successful just, you know, in like financially or whatever. I mean like successful in life, happiness, doing well, succeeding at something.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, I've met, you know, a bunch of the other agents in your office, and they're all awesome people. They were super nice.
Oh, yeah.
I went down there with Mackenzie to teach a class, and very welcoming, very kind, very open. So you're with a good group. What are your goals in real estate? What do you want to do?
Oh man, every single time the year turns around, right? We sort of get these goals in place. We try to come up with something new, something spectacular, and I think that's when I get into the real estate side. It's always been a little bit tougher for me because, like I said, I've been such a process oriented person. It's stay in my one day at a time, stay at doing my little things right. So, you know, my biggest goals right now are stay in helping that one person a day, helping one person, you know, finding one person that I can help per day, right? And just making them a priority and making sure that they're comfortable, making sure that they're, you know, helped in their decisions in whatever way that I can, either it's myself or finding them some sort of expert. But yeah, it's for me, it's the little things as opposed to like big goals. I don't even know how to get to a big goal.
Well, that's okay. And but you know, especially for someone like you who had been kind of pushing your whole life to, you know, achieve, you know, the next thing or, you know, kind of growth, right? That's why I asked that question. And that's probably the best answer I've ever heard somebody ever give when you ask what their goal is, to help somebody or do one nice thing for somebody every single day. I mean, I think that's an incredible goal, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that's the best answer I've ever heard anybody say when we talk about goals. Because some people will throw out some bullshit number of what they want to do and, you know, closed sale volume there. That wasn't really what I meant. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah.
I meant like in real estate or life. Like, where do you want to go with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the best place to start is to have an activity that you can be accountable to doing every single day. Yep. And that's exactly what that is.
What you can control.
Right? What you can control.
Yep.
And again, you've said the process probably 5 or 6 times as we've been talking, and that's your process.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of your process and your daily activity that will then yield results in the end.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I think you're going to absolutely kill it. I think you just need to, you know, continue doing what you're doing. You know, let people know who you are. Right?
Yeah.
Get out there more.
Let them in.
Totally. Get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like I've talked to people before about doing more on social media. I want to do more on social media. People say I don't like what I look like or I sound like or this, that, or the other thing. Well, it is what you look like. It is what you sound like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, these recording devices and these cameras don't change what you look like and what you sound like.
No, really? That's not what you told me.
No, they capture it perfectly. That's exactly it, right? Yeah. So you just got to get more people to know who you are, right?
Yeah.
And the more you do, you know, you're a super nice guy. You know what I mean? People would like to work with you. And you said something in the class the other day that I'd like it if you could talk to that a little bit because, it was something unique that nobody's ever said, right? Mm-hmm. So we were talking about creating a mission statement for yourself and kind of like what your values are and how you want to be known. And I said, all right, everybody make a list of 5 or 6 words, and then we'll kind of go from there with that. What was the word that you said?
Yeah, I think the big one was like safety, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to make people feel safe or comfortable in their decisions, and especially where they ultimately choose to buy or live, right?
Yeah.
Like in regards to real estate, is making them feel safe in their decisions.
And how will you help to make them feel safe in their decisions?
I mean, and we talked about this in the class, right?
Yeah.
It's helping guide them through the whole process.
Yeah.
It's from the beginning, making sure that they have all the information that they need, making sure that they're not overlooking any decisions or steps, and making sure that they are the most informed they can be to ultimately make the right decision for them.
Right.
And then, I think that really helps in the whole feeling safe and comfortable in the end.
I love that. If you stick with doing something good for somebody every day and making people feel safe in their decisions, you'll be the most successful real estate agent that there is. Right? And I might not be saying numbers at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But that is successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because everybody will walk out of the end of the transaction feeling good, as they should.
Yep.
This thing we do, helping people buy and sell their homes, should not be super stressful. And I think it's important for us, the people that are kind of the different players in those transactions.
Yeah.
Our job is to make it so it's not stressful, make it so it's calm, relaxed, easy.
Yes.
Are there going to be times when there's difficult decisions for buyers and sellers to make? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But if we can be calm and help them through that, then they'll see it as a success in the end.
Yeah.
So Justin, where can people find you?
I mean, they can find me on social media. You mean
anywhere.
That's my big thing that I'm working on.
What's your home address? I don't know.
Oh my God! No.
Where do you want people to find?
Enough people have my home address. No, I mean, so it's phone numbers. All out there.
Yep.
Email justinhaleyre@gmail.com. Okay. Try to keep it simple.
Yep.
Right. Instagram, just in case Haley.
Okay.
That's the middle name. Gave a little joke from my parents there. You probably didn't see that.
I like that. Yeah. No, I didn't. Just in case?
Just in case.
Oh, my God, that's funny. I like it. All right, so they can find you on social, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff?
Yep, I'm on all the platforms. Yeah, obviously getting more active thanks to you. And
we're going to help you.
We're going to put it out there.
This is going to be a first step for you.
Yeah.
All right, so if you need help buying a home, selling a home, talking about a home, baseball advice, call Justin.
Yeah.
Obviously, great guy. He can help you through the process, and I'm looking forward to see what we can do, buddy.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.